you ever looked to yourself in the mirror and said, who am I after this relationship? And who am I going to be now? So, if you've ever asked yourself that question, you're in the right place, my friends. We are diving deep into the heart of self-discovery after heartbreak. So, whether you're fresh out of a relationship or you've been navigating a new life for a while now, asking the question, who am I, can be fear-inducing and downright terrifying. I know because I've had to ask that question to myself before. So it is very normal to lose parts of ourselves in relationships. Why? Because we are joining two lives together, and you may be together for a while or maybe even decades, and life can get very meshed together. Now, if you're like me, and I know many of you are who are watching this because you wouldn't have clicked on this video if you didn't. But we wrap our entire identities and worlds around our relationships and essentially our partners. They become us and we become them, and our life basically depends on that. So when this relationship ends, it can feel like we've lost who we are and our purpose in life. So if this sounds like you, please stick around. So why does knowing who you are matter? Well, I'll share my story. So I was in a relationship for 7 years, and probably around year 5, I started feeling like this wasn't it, but I held on because this is who I was. This is what I was going to do. I knew that I wanted to get married, and my partner was everything that checked off on a checklist of who I should be with. So I continued on and I continued on. And I stayed in that relationship, got married, and then very quickly got divorced and got out of that and realized, oh, wow, I committed my entire life and my identity to this relationship. So now I have no idea who I am. And to be quite honest, I actually realized that I had no idea who I was even before that because I had been trying to live up to everyone else's ideas of me and what I should be doing and who I should be with and living to do all the things for everyone else. I never once really asked what I wanted. So, after divorce, like I mentioned, we feel disconnected, we're uninspired, and we feel lost in the life that we were leading because we thought that we were going to have that life for a long time. So when you get out of that, you don't know who you are and you don't know where you're going or what step to take next. So it wasn't until I decided to take a conscious choice to reconnect with myself to actually realize what I wanted out of life, what makes me unique, and learned to truly love who I was. And trust me, there is so much power in that. Let's face it, no one likes admitting that their relationship took over their lives and they no longer know who they are. I get it. And maybe you've spent years prioritizing someone else's needs, making compromises, and overstepping your boundaries, or even putting your dreams on the back burner. I mean, shit happens. You didn't know what you didn't know. And so the problem is that we assign shame to this experience when we really, really shouldn't be. As humans, we are programmed to give and care deeply because we want to give and receive love too. In addition, we have fairy tales, we have Disney movies defining what love is supposed to look like, and we all have different experiences of how to give and receive love. It's no wonder why someone can lose their identity in a relationship when we're trying so hard to uphold all the standards of what we thought love should look like. So here's the thing. Many people, including myself, have experienced identity loss in relationship. It's an emptiness and it's a heaviness that can be very overwhelming, which I'm sure you have felt or you're currently feeling now. And I want to let you know that it's normal to completely feel lost and alone when you have a big gaping hole inside of you. So if you're feeling lost right now, that's okay. Give yourself grace. Let's dig a little deeper now, though. And I want you to think about who you were before your relationship. And if you have a journal nearby, notebook, and a pen, I want you to reflect on these questions. What were your hobbies, passions, and interests before your relationship? Did you have any dreams or goals that maybe got pushed to the side? What are your strengths, accomplishments, and things that you're proud of that happened in your life that you had a part in? And how did you spend your free time? What activities made you feel alive? And one other question is, what did you enjoy doing as a kid? Did you enjoy being creative? Did you enjoy, being in nature? What was that? Here are a few little tips as you go on this inner journey to discover yourself. Number one is start small. So I don't want you to try to put in all these new hobbies or all these things that you used to do in the past. You're going to take little pieces of each of those things and include them in your day or in your week. So if you liked painting like I did, you go pick up a paintbrush, go get a canvas, and maybe spend a half an hour in the evenings just throwing your emotions on a canvas with some paint. And maybe you were involved in fitness. Maybe, doing a 15-minute workout to get back in the game is going to work for you. Maybe you need to be out in nature more. So maybe you take 30 minutes during your work break and go for a walk outside and listen to a podcast. There are so many ways that you can include little slices of yourself in your day to start bringing back that fire inside of you. And if you had also dreams that you haven't thought about in years, start writing things down, making goals of achieving them now. And maybe that is going back to school, writing a book, or traveling to Italy and eating all the pasta and having an eat, pray, love moment. Write down what you want to do and start doing it, but take it slow and take it small. The next thing is be self-compassionate. I know this journey it's very hard and it's very emotionally driven, and you can feel up one day and to the depths of hell the next day. But know that healing isn't linear, and your rediscovery of yourself takes time. I mean, it's almost been 10 years for me to where I've finally been able to disconnect myself from the pain of that and really find who I was. And now I'm in a loving relationship, and more on that later, but it does take time. Embrace all of the parts of the journey, the ups and downs, the empowered days, the days where you feel super lost and like shit. Those are all part of the journey. The other thing was staying curious. And that's not only being curious of new and old passions or taking up a cooking class, or it's really also taking the time to be curious of how you show up. What are your emotions? How are you reacting to things? How could you have done things differently in the past and maybe start implementing new ways of doing things in the future? And looking at the relationship dynamics, how can those be changed for a loving and healthy relationship in the future? So looking at curiosity both within the idea of exploring new passions and hobbies, but also exploring the emotions and the triggers and your experiences from the past so that you can better navigate and become the better version of you in the future. The other thing I want to add for embracing curiosity is creating new traditions for yourself. And one of the things that I love doing, is especially around the holidays, because there are lots of traditions of couples together and everyone's happy in love and all of that. But really start to think of creating new traditions for yourself. So, as an example, using the holidays, make yourself a holiday meal, make the turkey, make the stuffing, make the mashed potatoes, all of the delicious desserts, make it for yourself. And if you have cats, those can be your guests. Um, or any pets. But use this time to really create a new life for you, create more traditions that inspire you, that make you feel alive, that make you love your life. That is what's going to help you rediscover yourself. And when you do get into that new relationship, maybe you can bring some of these traditions into that space and you can share them together. Last and not least is find your tribe. Now, you want to surround yourself with support. I understand that sometimes it's not always like viable or easy to have friends that are available or family, but really finding a community, if you don't have that, that have gone through similar journeys and are able to provide the support that you need so that you don't have to go through this alone. It is very hard, and I'm very grateful and thankful for every single person that was on my journey with me, supporting me, and, giving me the love when I needed it, because I did need it. And finding connection, if it's not with family, if it's not with friends, find a community, find a group of people that, can share their stories, can share their emotions, can share how they feel with you, and you can resonate and you can feel like you're heard and you're held in that space. As you move forward on this journey, remember that rediscovery is not about going back and reliving the past and the pain, but it's embracing the future so that you have these parts of you that you lost that matter most as a part of the new future you. You will get through this and you have support and you can find support if you need. You can always reach out to me. Happy to chat. If you're going through a rough spot, I don't want anyone to be alone in their suffering. So drop a comment below and let me know how you enjoyed this video. Maybe you have some tips that you can provide others that, would be helpful to them. And, share how you're doing on the journey. What's coming up for you right now? Where do you need help? And maybe myself or someone else in the comments can also support you. So thanks for listening and see you in the next video.